Hi guys, today we are going to be comparing owning a car, renting a car, and co owning a car. But before we get into that, I'm going to give you a small introduction of what we do. So, we are the world's first fractional car ownership platform, and we allow you to co own premium luxury and off roading cars with nearby residents for your leisure and lifestyle purposes. And we also got featured on Shark Tank Season 3, Episode 45, and got funded by Anupam Mittal and Piyush Bansal. And I'll be putting the link in the caption below so you can check it out. We are operational in multiple cities: Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai, Pune, Chennai, Jaipur, Surat, Chandigarh, Goa, etc. And now, the car that we're going to be taking as an example for comparing owning, co ownership, and rental is the Landrover Defender. So let's get into it. So, first, we're going to be looking at owning a car. And we've already made a certain set of assumptions so that the calculations further could be in symmetry and could be easier to perform. So, we have five assumptions. The first one being that the calculation is based on a 5 year timeline, given that you're going to be using this car for 5 years and then you'll be selling it after a period of 5 years. And your second assumption is that you already have an existing car. So this is not your primary car, and this is probably your second or your third car. Now, our third assumption is based off on the second one, which is that because this is not your primary car and it does not solve your daily commute, your requirement for this particular car is maximum 90 days in a year, which is roughly 3 months in a year. Now, your fourth assumption is that the resale value after 5 years, after using the car for a period of 5 years, when you resell it, approximately 50% depreciation takes place and it gets sold at 50% of the on road price of the car. Your fifth assumption is that this calculation is based on the variant Land Rover Defender 110 2.0 petrol HSC. It's a luxury seven-seater car. So let's get into the calculation part of it. So the ex showroom price of a Land Rover Defender is 1 crore 3 lakh rupees, and the on road price is 1 crore 19 lakh rupees. So the on road price is basically your ex showroom price plus your insurance and registration, which we will be looking at further. Now, let's say you take a loan for a period of 5 years. So your down payment is 20% of the ex showroom price, which is 20% of 1 crore 3 lakhs, which sums up to 20 lakhs 78,000. Now, the remaining loan amount becomes 84 lakhs 64,116. Now, if you take this loan for a period of 5 years, which we had established earlier, at the interest rate being 8.8%, then your loan repayment amount becomes 1 crore 4 lakh rupees. And then comes your insurance, which is 4 lakh 32,000 in this case, and your registration charges is 10 lakhs 93,000. Now, because this is a luxury car, it also has accessories and additional packages, which amounts up to a total of 9 lakhs 50,000. And your parking costs are usually 2,000 rupees per month. So if you do this for a recurring period of 5 years, your total parking cost becomes 1 lakh 20,000. And your maintenance cost usually is 10% of your car price, which is 10% of 1 crore 19 lakhs, which sums up to 11 lakhs 91,500. Now, your total cost, when you add your down payment, loan repayment amount, insurance, registration, accessories, parking costs, and your maintenance cost, it sums up to 1 crore 63 lakhs 57,942 to be precise. So now we're going to be looking at the per day cost if you're going to be buying and owning a Land Rover Defender. So the total cost, as we saw, is 1 crore 63 lakhs 57,942. And now you subtract the resale amount after 5 years, which is 50% of the on road price. 50% of 1 crore 19 lakhs is 59, 57, 558. Now, when you subtract 59 lakhs from 1 crore 63 lakhs, you get the net cost after resale, which is 1 crore 4 lakh rupees. Now, let's look at the multiple usage scenarios. Okay, so let's say you use this car only for 30 days in a year for a period of 5 years. So, which means 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 150 days. Now, when you divide 1 crore 4 lakhs, which is the net cost after resale, by 150 days of usage, you get a total cost of 63,000 rupees per day. Now let's look at the second scenario, which is if you use the car 60 days in a year for a period of 5 years, which means 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 300 days. Now again, we're going to divide the net cost after resale, 1 crore 4 lakh rupees, by 300 days of usage, which gives you 34,600 rupees per day. And now the maximum requirement, which is 90 days per year, almost 3 months in a year. We again divide the net cost after resale, which is 1 crore 4 lakhs, divided by 450 days of usage, which gives you 23,000. So the more you use, obviously lesser the cost. Since the per day cost is so much, which is 23,000, even after using it for 90 days, I would only recommend owning a car which is your second or your third car only if your usage is more than 90 days in a year, which is close to maybe 200 or 300 days in a year. Now, let's look at the second comparison, which is renting a car. Um, so again, now we have four assumptions. The first assumption being that the calculation is based on a 5 year timeline, which means you're going to be renting this car for a recurring period of 5 years. And your second assumption is that we are assuming that a car which is of the price 1.2 to 1.5 CRs, the per day rent is going to be 35,000 inclusive of GST for a 24-hour cycle, which means from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. the next day. Now, your third assumption is that your requirement for the car is again 90 days in a year. So, for a period of 5 years, every year you use the car for 90 days. So, 90, 90, 90, 90, 90, 450 days. And the fourth assumption is that you get this car without a driver and also without fuel. So now let's look at the costs associated with it. So the daily rent for the Landrover Defender, which we had established earlier, is 35,000 rupees per day. And you don't have to be paying any maintenance, insurance, or any parking costs since you're going to be renting it. So you're not going to be parking it regularly. And there is no maintenance and insurance that you'll be paying in this car. So now, if you look at the usage being 30 days in a year, okay, for a period of 5 years, which means 150 days, and your cost per day is 35,000. So 35,000 into 150 days becomes 52 lakhs 50,000. You're going to be paying 52 lakhs totally for a period of 5 years. And if your usage is more, which means 60 days, then you're going to be paying 35,000 into 300 days, which is 1 crore 5 lakh rupees. And if your usage is 90 days in a year, which means 450 days in 5 years, and your cost per day is 35,000, you're going to be paying 1 crore 57 lakhs, which is more than the on road price of the car. So I would only recommend renting if you're going to be using the car at max 5 to 6 days in a year for maybe only one trip or only one specific occasion. If you need to use the car recurringly, like 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, and for a longer period of time, like for 5 years, then renting could be super, super expensive for you. Now let's hop on to the third alternative, which is co owning a car. So let's look at the assumptions again. We have five assumptions this time. The first one being that, again, the calculation is based on a 5 year timeline, which means that you'll be using the car for a period of 5 years and then selling it later. Second, you already have an existing car. This is your second or your third car, and it's not solving your daily commute, and you need it for occasional purposes. Maybe your family visits you often, or you're an NRI and you come to India often. Maybe you have multiple trips in a year, or you like to travel often, etc. Anything. Now, your fourth assumption is that your resale value after 5 years is 50% of the on road price of the car. And your fifth assumption is that this calculation is based on the Land Rover Defender 110 2.0 petrol HSE variant, which is a luxury seven-seater car. Now, let's look at the cost of co owning a car. So now we've already established the on road price of the car, which is 1 crore 19 lakh rupees, and your additional packages are 9 lakh 50,000, which means your total car price is 1 crore 28,065,116, and you're not going to be paying insurance, parking costs, maintenance all upfront. That's going to come later on. So your total car price till now is 1 crore 28 lakhs. Now, what we do is divide one car into 12 tickets of ownership. like 12 months in a year, which means one ticket represents 1 month of ownership, which you can split across the year. Let's say you want 2 days in February, 4 days in July. As per your requirement, you can book the days in the entire year, and this happens for a recurring period of 5 years. So now, when we divide 1 crores 28 lakhs by 12, you get the ticket price to be 10 lakh 70,000, which is obviously rounded off in this situation. So basically, when you pay 10 lakh 70,000 for one ticket, you get 30 days of usage in a year and 150 days of usage over a period of 5 years. Now, as we are an asset management company, we provide three services. Your first one is your periodic service and maintenance. Your second one is your insurance policy, which is bumper to bumper. So, if anything goes wrong with the car, we take care of it. And the third one is your pick and drop service, which means every time you reserve the car in the app, a driver comes to your doorstep, hands over the keys to you, and gives the car to you full tank. And you have to return it full tank. Now, this is done at an annual cost of 80,000 rupees per year, which means for a period of 5 years, you'll be paying 4 lakhs as your AMC charges. Now, let's look at the per day cost of co owning a car. So, now as we have already established that the ticket size is 10 lakh 70,000 and the AMC charges are 80,000, after a period of 5 years, we resell the car through a bidding platform where you can bid, your friends can bid, dealers, vendors, everyone bids, and the maximum bid price is what the car is sold on. And in this case, since we've assumed that 50% depreciation is going to take place. So 50% of 10 lakh 70,000 is 5 lakh 35,000. Your net cost after resale is 5 lakh 35,000 plus 4 lakhs of your AMC, which is accumulated over a period of 5 years. So your total co-ownership price for one ticket becomes 9 lakhs 35,000. Now let's look at the cost per day. So now, if you use this car for 30 days in a year over a period of 5 years, which is 150 days, so your cost per day becomes net cost after resale, which is 9 lakh 35,000 divided by 150 days, which is 6,200. And now, if you use the car for 60 days, then your co-ownership price after resale becomes 18 lakh 70,000 divided by 300 days of usage, which becomes 6,233. And now, if you use the car for 90 days per year, which is your maximum usage, then your co-ownership price after resale becomes 28 lakhs 5,000 divided by 450 days, which is 6,233 rupees. So now, if we compare all the three segments, which is owning a car, renting a car, and owning a car will only be beneficial if your usage is more than 300 days, because that's when your cost will marginally reduce as your usage will increase, because there are many other costs that are involved. You have to pay the maintenance, you have to pay the insurance, you will be paying the parking cost. So the more you use, the more beneficial it will be for you. On the other hand, renting a car is most beneficial if your usage in a year is at max 5 to 10 days in a year, where you only have one occasion in a year, maybe one wedding to attend or one vacation to attend to, and that's about it. Now, co-owning a car is most beneficial for you if you already have an existing car, a primary car, and you need a secondary or a third car for your occasional usage. You have 3 to 4 or 5 vacations lined up in a year, or you're an NRI, as I had mentioned earlier, and you need a car in your city when you travel back home, or you visit your family often, or your family comes to visit you often, or you just like to travel a lot, then co-ownership is the best for you, since the cost per day is marginally lesser compared to renting a car and owning a car. I will be dropping a link to our website below, so you can go and check out multiple cars and also see their pricing, and you could make an informed decision. So, thank you. That's about it.